Today I'm eager to talk with you about aesthetics, the third pillar of Floriescence. Like the other two Floriescent pillars of science and ethics, aesthetics is essential for human flourishing. To be fully alive, to live ecopoetically on planet Earth, we require more than what science and ethics can offer. As creatures who ascribe value and meaning to our sensory experiences, we need the nourishment and insight of aesthetics. In this brief introduction, I hope to deepen your awareness of just how vital aesthetics is for well-being, not only in our personal lives, but also in living well in community. Additionally, I wish to alert you to the unique aesthetic perils we face in the 21st century. In many ways, we are like an adolescent leaving the security and familiarity of home to begin a life in a foreign land. And I wish to conclude with an exercise which each of us can do that illustrates how the Floriescent perspective of aesthetics improves and enhances the quality of our daily lives. Regarding my first point on the importance of aesthetics to our well-being, a Chinese proverb puts it this way: when you have only 2 coins left in the world, buy a loaf of bread with one, and with the other, a lily. English poet and painter William Blake observed, "Nations are destroyed or flourish in proportion as their poetry, painting, and music are destroyed or flourish." A century after Blake, the great Russian author Leo Tolstoy phrased a similar idea this way: "Art is a means of union among men, joining them together in the same feelings, and indispensable for the life and progress toward well-being of individuals and of humanity." German philosopher and cultural critic Nietzsche went even further, proclaiming that aesthetics is a matter of life and death. He warned that art was essential in order that we do not perish from the truth. I agree. We need refreshment that only aesthetics can bring. We need, even if by illusion, to be transported beyond the mundane concerns, petty obligations, and wearing realities of life. We need from time to time to be unshackled from the harsh burdens of living and to indwell enchanting worlds of our imagination. This now brings me to my second point. We are entering a time of great aesthetic peril. For the first time in history, most people now spend nearly all their lives divorced from both nature's rhythms and its wildness. We live and work within tamed environments and time schedules of our own making. We travel to and fro within conveyances that shield us from the vicissitudes of weather and the challenges of topography. The sensory milieu of modern life, the color, sound, smell, taste, and haptic presence of built and virtual environments, has usurped the awesome preeminence of nature and its daily and seasonal patterns of life. Why is this perilous, you might ask? Because the stark transformation of sensory milieu from the natural to the anthropogenic profoundly affects what we love and what we fear, what we admire and what we loathe, what we crave and what we shun, what makes us anxious and what brings us peace. Our aesthetic experience is to an ever greater degree informed by what is synthetic, virtual, electronic, mechanical, and pharmaceutical. As the 21st century continues to unfold and aesthetics becomes untethered from its natural moorings, will we be able to maintain commonly shared aesthetic sensibilities as our daily experiences move ever farther away from their natural roots? The Floriescent vision of establishing and reclaiming aesthetic fundamentals bequeathed to us and shared in common holds the promise that we can. To show you how, I must first say that Floriescence perceives the broad and diverse fields of aesthetics as falling into three distinct categories. The three Floriescent perspectives of aesthetics are the natural, the cultural, and the personal. Floriescent aesthetics finds its roots within the natural perspective. Nature is our aesthetic commons. Nature sets the stage and it permits the performance of all events of aesthetic value. Nature gives to all of us enchanting numbers such as pi, and beautiful geometric forms such as circles and spheres. It shows us basic patterns and exquisite proportions. It reveals deep symmetries. It displays dynamic rhythms of action. It rings with exuberant harmonies of color. Culture is the second Floriescent perspective of aesthetics. Culture creates and holds the immense repository of artistic heritage that we're born into. As human cultures develop and our technologies advance, the range of aesthetic possibilities expands, offering unprecedented freedom of expression and opportunities to create unique and astonishing environments of our own design and making. But sometimes in our rush forward, cultural aesthetics can become forgetful, degrading and defacing what we once cherished. The personal perspective entails the creative acts and artifacts that we fashion. It covers the entire suite of our sensory experiences, the smells, touch, and tastes, the sights and sounds of our daily lives, and how we interpret them. Many aesthetic experiences can only be fully enjoyed in the company of others, such as when we sing and play music, while others dance in their bright, colorful attire. And on the personal level, we use aesthetics to express our outrage at injustice and voice our frustration and despair that change is not happening fast enough. In these anxious and tumultuous and uncertain times, where we find ourselves more isolated from each other than normal, here is a little exercise in Floriescent aesthetics that I wish for you to try. The purpose of this exercise is to evoke in a family member or friend a valuable and pleasant memory that you know is meaningful to them, thereby strengthening your relationship and brightening their day. Whatever it is that you do can be, but does not have to be, also meaningful to you. Here's an example of what I mean. Ceremoniously retrieving from the pantry shelf my late mother's well-worn, tried and true pineapple upside-down cake recipe, my wife, Carmen, bakes this delicious cake once each year for my birthday. The sweet, fruity smell emanating from the oven alone is enough to transport me back to carefree summer days of my childhood. And for that, I am truly grateful. Knowing just the right sensory experience that will conjure up the cherished memory is the goal. The less elaborate, the better. Thank you for joining us today, and as always, and until next time, I wish you well.